After last night's much-needed win over the Minnesota Timberwolves, the Dallas Mavericks improved to a 3-1 record right before their matchup with the Houston Rockets, but this has to absolutely stop. We all know that Luka Doncic is having a pretty rough start to the NBA season, but a lot of fans are going a little bit too far with it, saying that he's out of shape, Luka Doncic is still fat, that he's not even trying, that he's playing too much hero ball, that he wants to win MVP by any means necessary, is all far from the truth. So in this video, we're going to take a look at the real Luka Doncic, how he's actually been playing for the team, and despite his shooting slump, he's still impacting winning. But how's it going, everybody? This is Marcel Martin. This is Mavs Digest, bringing the latest news on everything Mavericks related. And before we start with today's video, we're currently sitting at 14,063 subscribers, which is huge. We're less than 1,000 subs away from our goal of 15K. But if you want to be up to date on everything Mavericks related, the live streams, the watch-alongs, the giveaways, and the videos, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on a single thing that we do. But like I said in the intro, Luka Doncic has been having a pretty rough start to the NBA season, and a lot of so-called fans have a lot to say about it. That he's out of shape, that he didn't take the offseason serious, that he came into the season hoping just to play into shape, which is far from the truth. And we've seen what Luka Doncic has done all summer. After making it all the way to the NBA Finals, he went right into the Olympics right after. And then right after the Olympics, he went and played in Goran Dragic's game. And we saw Luka Doncic lose weight. We see him now. He is still in shape. I don't see a bigger Luka on the floor, like what some people are saying. Luka Doncic is totally fine from a physical standpoint. I don't have a problem with his weight. I've never critiqued him on his weight. Does it fluctuate? Sure. Has it ever really hindered his weight? Some people argue when he looks bigger, he plays better. But we do have to address some of the truths in these criticisms for Luka Doncic. He dealt with lower leg injuries throughout the entirety of the playoffs. And right before the season started, even before preseason, the news broke out that he had a weird calf contusion, which is really just a calf bruise, before the preseason even started. So it kind of shows you right there, Luka Doncic is having some lower leg issues, injuries. He's getting pretty banged up, where even last night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, he took a knee to the back of his knee, and he had to leave the game for just a little bit. He did come back in the third quarter, but Luka Doncic does get banged up a lot. Even more than just last night's injury, almost every single game, Luka Doncic is being attacked by every single defender, and hardly any calls are being made. Late in the fourth quarter last night, there was a shot where Luka turned his back to the camera, and if you look close enough, you could see just red marks all up and down his back, and they're not calling these fouls on him. And even in spite all of that, in spite of the no calls from the referees, in spite of not being able to shoot the ball that well, at least up to the standards of Luka Doncic, he's still having a pretty good start to the season if we take a look at his averages. And so far, in the first 4 games of the season, Luka Doncic is averaging 26.8 points, 9.3 rebounds, 7 assists, 0.8 blocks, 1 steal, 2.8 turnovers, 3 point fouls per game, while shooting 36% from the floor and 26% from 3. And the few good things of this little average right now is the fact that he's still averaging 9 rebounds and 7 assists. Shows you that he's still getting boards and he's still looking to pass the ball. And if we want to look at his defense, well, 0.8 blocks and 1 steal per game. If you watch any of these games, just the eye test alone shows you that Luka Doncic is trying on defense. He's actually caring about the defense, and it has led to many runs in many of these games. And only 2.8 turnovers, that's low for Luka. So if we look at the averages, that tells a completely different story. However, when you look at the shooting percentages, that's where the problems lie. He's shooting 36% from the floor and 26% from 3, where 36% from floor is worse than where he shot from 3 last season. So obviously there's an issue with the shooting. And like I said before, if he's having a lot of these lower leg injuries, that's going to affect his shot, especially when he's taking those crazy deep threes. Now, speaking of those crazy deep threes, yes, yesterday we saw Luka Doncic hit a nasty step back 35-foot 3 in Minnesota. He missed his first 8, but hey, if you miss 8, that ninth one's bound to go in, and that's totally fine. Luka Doncic is going to figure it out. He's going to be fine. And if you're a true fan of if you're a true fan of the Dallas Mavericks, if you're a true fan of Luka Doncic, then there's no reason for you to be saying, "Oh, he's fat. He's out of shape. He doesn't care." To say that Luka Doncic doesn't care about this team is absolutely maddening, and the fact that there are people online agreeing to this thought is just insane. But if we take a look at this right here, This was Luka's worst shooting night the other day against the Utah Jazz, right? Luka was 5 of 22 from the floor and 1 of 9 from 3. That was his absolute worst shooting in his entire career. Whereas for some players, this is just an everyday night. Maybe not to that volume, but to those percentages, some players in the league shoot this bad. And if you do look at the other 3 games of his other horrible shooting nights, he was 7 of 22, 7 of 23, and 6 of 27. So yes, is Luka Doncic shooting the ball well? No, that's not the case. His shots off, the selection is kind of odd. He goes at the rim and there's always an in and out. It's very weird. In the threes, he does try to shoot himself out of a slump, and for most shooters, that's what you need to do. If you're in a slump, you keep shooting, you catch rhythm, you get a little heat check, and then you keep it going. And we've seen that with Luka Doncic. We do. It's just not starting right away. But the beauty of that is, even if Luka's shot isn't falling, we have other players that have definitely stepped up and have definitely shown out in the 4 short games that we've already played. And you've got to give Luka Doncic his credit for that. And we've got some stats to back it up. The leaders in three-point percentage with at least 35 attempts. At 4th across the entire league is Klay Thompson, shooting 42.5% from 3. And that's because Luka Doncic and the way that he play makes, the way that the entire team really spaces the floor, but the fact that Luka Doncic will get so much attention from the defense. Klay Thompson is getting amazing shots. He's able to shoot 42.5% across his first 4 games. So shout out to Luka Doncic for still being able to play make, still being able to get the ball to where it needs to be, even when your own shot isn't falling. But Klay Thompson isn't the only player that's benefiting. Kyrie Irving is too. And yesterday we saw Uncle Drew, 4th quarter Kai, the Supreme Kai, absolutely go off and erupted in Minnesota. And this right here, leaders in three-point percentage with at least 25 attempts, so less than 35 that Klay takes. Kyrie's 3rd, shooting 53.8% from 3. And that wouldn't happen if we don't have Luka Doncic on the floor. Now, I'm not saying these guys don't shoot well if Luka's not there, but Luka does aid in this team. Like I said earlier, his defense is definitely there. The eye test proves it. The steals and the blocks, they also prove it. He isn't just standing around. Now, to play devil's advocate, yes, there are moments where he does take a while to get back on defense. He doesn't really run. He doesn't run that fast. The fast break is more like a walk break for Luka Doncic, as guys are running down the floor and he's usually the last one across the half-court line. I get that. Sometimes he does take off on defense, and I get that too. But to say that our best player isn't trying, to say that our best player doesn't care, is absolutely insane, especially when other players are benefiting from what Luka Doncic is still doing, although he hasn't played a single preseason game. Although he's still dealing with lower extremity injuries, he's still able to impact the game because that's what great players do. Another thing that I want to show you guys is this right here. This was after the Utah Jazz game. Klay Thompson is thriving in Luka's offensive ecosystem. 29 of his 33 three-point attempts, 88% this season have been open or wide open. He is taking full advantage by firing off 11 threes per game and hitting 46% of them, looking like a big-time addition to Dallas' offense. 88% in the first 3 games of the season, 88% of Klay Thompson threes were either open or wide open. That's because of Luka Doncic and how he orchestrates the offense, the way he gets guys open. And of course, as Mavericks fans, we know that. We've seen that over many years, over the last 6-7 years that he's been here. The only difference is we now have a player who can hit 46% of these threes, which, shout out to Klay Thompson. I'm so glad that it's working out for us. But that wouldn't have been the case if he doesn't have someone like Luka Doncic playing alongside him, getting him open for these shots, being able to play, make, and do all the small things. And the last thing that I'm going to show you is obviously the injury that he sustained yesterday's game against the Minnesota Timberwolves. There is an update. He is totally fine. It was just a weird moment where someone's knee hit him in the back of his knee. He left to get checked at, and he came right back after halftime, and he's good to go. After the game, he mentioned that he was fine. But this right here, this tweet saying, Luka Doncic appears to have injured his right knee and went straight to the locker room. And he came right back and he handled business. So that right there, as well as the thumbnail, shows you that Luka Doncic is being attacked every single game. The defense is keying in on him, and the refs are not giving him any grace, any mercy at all. No fouls are really going our way. but that shouldn't even matter. We still need to find ways to win, which we've done in 3 of our 4 games. We still need to find ways to defend, which we've done in every single game. And we still need to find ways to work as a team. Luka Doncic, for the 7 seasons that he's been here, has been the system. But now we have enough pieces that work well with each other that we have a completely different system. But we need Luka to find out how he fits the new system. And the type of player that he is, the genius at basketball that Luka Doncic is, he's going to figure it out. We saw it last night. He figured out how to fix his deficiencies, and he had a average game to his own standards. To anybody else, that's a great game. But Luka Doncic, he was able to have a pretty average game, and I fully believe against Houston tomorrow, he's going to have an amazing comeback game, and the team is going to continue to look better. But let me know what you guys think down below. Do you think Luka's just not taking this serious, or do you think that he'll be just fine? This is just the beginning of the season. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We can have a conversation about it. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thank you for making this far to the video. Make sure you check out our Twitter and Discord. Links in the description below. Consider becoming a channel member. We are doing our giveaway. The winner will be announced the first week of every month. Until next time, y'all take care. We're going live tomorrow for the Houston Rockets game, so make sure you tune in. And remember to drink water. Peace.